It just gets more exciting. The longer we do this program, I get more it's hard for me to sit here because I want to just go places. Welcome back to Travel Show Live. I am Eric Hastings, your travel guinea pig. Why are you laughing at me, John?
Well, they're going to turn the hose on.
Somebody calm him down. I thought they needed a bath. No, I get excited because, you know, look, we were talking just a moment ago. It's like we're talking about travel. It's supposed to be fun and exciting. And Pam Skillings is here. Hello, Pam.
Hi,
welcome to the program.
Good to be here.
Nice to have you here. Now, you're the official Manhattan expert for About.com, is that correct?
I take my job very seriously.
I can see that.
I love New York.
I know you were doing Jello shots in the green room. What was that all about? I know
you know, gotta loosen up. I want to be very Gaga-esque for you, you know? Yeah.
She had the gyros.
It's like a Hayden Planetarium theme going on.
Did you watch that Saturday Night Live?
I did.
She's a freak show on wheels. What is wrong with these people?
Is she a genius or is she a freak?
I don't know. I think Madonna's a genius.
I would agree. There's a spark of genius there, definitely.
Michael Jackson, genius.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, I do. I think genius has a lot to do with your staying power.
Yeah.
I think if you're smart enough to stay around long enough, you got to be doing something right.
Right. Yes.
You know what I mean?
And keep people interested.
And keep people interested. Like Madonna's always managed to do that.
Yeah.
Over the, people always say, well, she reinvents herself. I don't know about that. I think she looks at the tea leaves and says, okay, what part of my personality needs to be present to get people to like me right now?
She's a marketing genius.
Yeah, I think you're right about that.
Maybe not the music. Maybe. That's debatable.
You know what, though? That's interesting you say that about the music, because if you go through and you listen to the catalog, like there are parts of her catalog that are like, oh my God, what a piece of garbage. But those same few songs, somebody right next door would be like, oh my God, that's genius. Those are the best songs ever. And then like, I think Borderline is probably one of the greatest songs ever made.
Hey, I grew up in the 80s, so I love my Madonna.
I do. I can't argue with that. How did we get sidetracked with Madonna? How did that happen? Look, the problem is, people wonder whether or not we do this program live. We do. We do this show, right? We're in a real studio. We're in Midtown Manhattan. Yep. We're high atop Madison Square Garden in the heart of New York City.
Yes.
Manhattan.
Beautiful.
You like that?
Oh,
Like
nice.
practice
Can you do that in your announcer voice?
No, I can't. Don't you lower your voice at me. Anyway, let's get back to what the hell we were supposed to talk about here today. I don't know what's happened. I'm telling you, the longer the show goes, by about 6:30, woo. What does it mean to work for About.com doing what you do? What exactly does that mean?
Well, that means that I'm paid to be an expert in a topic that I'm passionate about. In my case, it's New York City. Mm-hmm. So my angle is really on things to do in New York. It's more from the local angle, and also I provide a lot of content for travelers who want to go where the locals go and not just be confined to the usual tourist attractions.
Well, this is perfect.
Yeah.
You are just the perfect expert then, because I always say, because people always say, I want to know what's off the beaten path.
Yes.
I don't even think they know really what the hell they mean by that, but
or if
it's
they
a
really
very
want
exciting.
that?
Yeah, I mean, really. But they I suppose it's interesting and sexy and what are you doing that nobody else knows about, that kind of thing. Do you also recommend to do the things that are on the beaten path?
Oh yeah, 100%.
You do, right?
And I find I love going to some of the tourist attractions.
Right.
And I try on the site. I try to tell what's overhyped and what is really worth it. What is a real New York experience that you want to go to? That is, you want to go to the Museum of Natural History. You want to go to the Met, Central Park. I mean, they sort of define the beaten path, but they're amazing places. They define New York. You definitely want to see them.
So you want to make sure. I'm glad you said that, because while you spend a lot of time finding what else there is to do besides the on the beaten path, it's just that when we take that leap to say, oh no, you don't have to do any of that stuff. Only do the other stuff. That's where I get a little.
Yeah, then you miss out.
You do.
A lot of locals miss out. I mean, and I used to miss out before I got this great job because I didn't go to a lot of these tours. I thought it was too cool to go to the Halloween parade and Top of the Rock and touristy type things. But once I went, I loved it. I had a great time. What
is overhyped in terms of points of interest, in your opinion? If you don't, I don't mean to put you on the spot, but I'm just curious.
Well, there are definitely certain restaurants and certain, I don't want to call anyone out in particular, not because I'm so sensitive, but because nothing's popping to mind, But a lot of the shopping, like there's a lot of Fifth Avenue, people want to go shop.
Right.
And for me, that's, I'm not a shopping girl. I want to go see and do things, and to stand in line to get into like Eddie Bauer to me seems like a waste of time.
Or to walk through a wave of cologne to get into Abercrombie and Fitch.
That's the worst one.
When did that happen?
That's the worst one.
Did I have a say in the opinion?
Yeah.
Like within a 4-block radius of the front door, we'd like to smell like I don't know what. But it's gross.
Like an Abercrombie boy.
Yeah. That's just funny to me. That's so funny. I don't know why that's funny, but it is. All right, so somebody coming for the first time to New York City, how about a duration? If money was no object.
Oh gosh, if money was no object.
But really, realistically, what would you recommend?
Yeah, well, you could. I mean, theoretically, if money were no object, you could spend weeks. But I think most people, if you're going to spend, typical week to 10 days, if you can swing it, that gives you enough time to not. One of the things about New York is you can get burned out. Yeah. You can go to the Met. You can't see everything at the Met. You can finish the day and feel like you want to die because you've been walking all day and you're overwhelmed with culture and you still haven't seen everything. Yeah. So pace yourself, and that's what I say. Come for a week, make a list, prioritize, decide what you want to see, what you want to do, what you want the experience to be about, and then come back. That's the best thing to do.
Nice. What have you written recent articles on just recently? If you
it's all about Halloween. Everyone's getting ready for Halloween, kids and adults, and the parade's coming up, and I recommend the Halloween parade. Very highly.
Is that for families? Can you bring a family? Does it get a little outrageous?
It does get a little outrageous, and especially at the bars after the parade, it gets a little outrageous. But definitely there are kids there to watch the parade itself. You want to be, the crowd is a little nuts. Right. So you want to be careful and keep a close eye on the kids. Make sure that you don't lose sight of them. Right. But
a leash would be appropriate.
It's pretty magical to see. They always have the most amazing puppets and these crazy floats, and of course people are out and they're nuts and they're showing off their creative costumes, and I go every year.
Do you dress up?
Sometimes.
What did you dress up as last?
Last year I did not dress up. I went as a reporter.
Nice.
I figure if I show up with a press pass and I'm dressed as like Lady Gaga or Elvira or something, I might not get the respect that I'm looking for.
That's a good point. What's next on the horizon? What are you working on now? We can expect to see soon.
Well, one thing that I think is really exciting for both New Yorkers and for visitors is there's something called Open House New York that's coming up next weekend.
This is going to be a great thing.
Have you heard about this?
I have heard about it.
Yeah.
I love the idea. Explain it real quick.
I love it.
We only have a little bit of time.
It's sort of a weekend-long event where there's all these events and tours at all these New York landmarks and established landmarks, but also like you go inside these artist lofts and residential buildings that you've always wanted to get a peek at that are very high-end, these old historic homes, the Little Red Lighthouse, everything from the Little Red Lighthouse to Manhattan Bridge.
But it's really about the architecture.
Architecture is the main focus, but you get a little bit of history. You usually get a tour by an expert who's there. They have a lot of volunteers who are there.
Yeah, and even if you are right now saying to yourself, I am not going to have an architecture. That does not sound like fun at all.
Yeah.
It is. Every time I go on one of like a walking tour, I always learn something that's always interesting and fun.
There's so many choices. No matter what you're interested in, you can find something that will be a lot of fun. I went on the High Line a few years ago before they really started renovating it, and I've had a lot of cool experiences through Open House New York.
And apparently there's some really cool experiences in looking into the Gansevoort Hotel from the High Line.
I've heard that.
That's another story altogether. You can look that up. I hear there's a like free show on the High Line.
I've got the video.
Oh, no, we don't have time to show that. We'll look at that during the break.
Daniel
Daniel does that. Very good. Pam, thank you very much for coming on. Will you come back?
Absolutely.
All right, it's all about.com, correct?
Absolutely. Manhattan.about.com.
All right, that's pretty easy. We can do that. Much more coming up. Oh, and should you bring your cell phone on your international trips? How do we navigate all that? We will solve that problem for you next on Travel Show Live. Stay with us.